I'm Rob Cole. I teach out of Ascension Athletics in Connecticut. I've been doing martial arts for like over 30 years, grappling for 20, all different styles, no gi, MMA, gi, 10th planet, whatever, leg locks, anything we do. Defensive jiu-jitsu, nice buzzword there. So what I'm gonna try to teach here, first I'll have a quick little spiel. What I like to talk about, where I feel when I got into this approach, we all have different years and levels we got into. Greg like 8 years, and Scott 5 years, and this and I got like a couple years in. And as I try to go through this, we all have different levels we get to, different paths. So in the last couple years playing with this, so I started trying to think about the approach to me, or the constraint-led approach, and like where it fits into the overall game of how we teach jiu-jitsu, right? Or how we teach grappling. So I came up with a little, it's not a real set in stone hierarchy, a little thing I like to say. It's like where I feel it falls in so we can do skill acquisition, right? Where does that happen? And where do we get the most out of it? Because that's what we want to be. We want to be efficient when we train, right? Especially, I love the hobbyists, the kids, the teens, anybody, competitors. To me, this is a great way for everybody to train, because you leave your house, especially as an adult, you leave your house, you leave your wife, your husband, or your kids. I want to go out, I want to do some sweat, I want to put some work in, right? I just don't, if I'm going to leave my house, I don't want to chill on the mats. I want to get involved and actually do this sport, and actually pick up all these skills and have fun doing it. So to me, the hierarchy is our complete expression of grappling is like the live sparrings, right? Everybody loves the live sparring, right? People, they're always dead. Oh, open mat time, everybody gets all their energy, right? So we got that sparring. And down at the lowest level of learning would be just the concepts. Everybody likes to say they teach concepts, but they just talk about them, right? And they're down here. So if you just talked about concepts and never moved your body, you're a concept guy, right? So we have the high end of the spectrum is the sparring, the live sparring, just any game, just let's roll, let's kill each other. And then the concept guy. And now, underneath sparring, we have the buzzword, positional sparring, right? That everybody does, right? We're all doing positional sparring, right? So here's positional sparring there. Then underneath that, we have the dead drilling phase, right? And that's the dead drilling phase. And then underneath that, we have the technical instruction phase, right? So we go sparring, positional, dead drilling, technical instruction, concept, right? So what I like to do, to me, the sparring, positional, that's the live training of jiu-jitsu. And underneath is the non-live training, right? The rote repetition, the dead drilling, the technical instruction, and then the concept. So what I like to do, I say, how can I teach a concept or a strategy and not just, so what I do is I take those concepts and strategies, and then I'll convert them into a task and a goal. And to me, that's where they fall underneath that live sparring. Because we're doing the live sparring, but now we're constraining it to these tasks and goals. And then that's where all the skill comes in. That's where you're getting the skill acquisition or the adaptation, right? As we're building these things. So we're playing in that phase all the time. So I like to do that and then spar at the end. So the transfer, when you take a technique and you decouple it, and then you put it back in, you're like, there's the transfer. How do you get transfer? To me, in this constraint-led approach, the transfer is baked in because you're literally doing it. And then when you go spar, you're doing it again. So the transfer isn't there. Now you're just adapting the skill to the full-on, all the game and all the chaos, right? We just want to bring the chaos down. So for me, I do a lot of defensive jiu-jitsu stuff and all that. To me, that's just the overall concept of awareness, to understand what to not give up, not giving up those underhooks, not giving up this, not giving up these things. And of course, when you're doing defense, what's the other person doing? Offense. It just has to go together. You can't sit there and just drill out defense, right? It just doesn't work that way. You need that pressure on the other side. So when you teach that, you're actually also teaching the offense at the same time. So that's what I like to do. So for me also, I like to look at universal rules of like grappling sports, right? So we got like folk style wrestling. They're like the best pinners in the world, right? They pin people down because that's part of their sport. The rules dictate what they're good at, right? Then we got like freestyle. They're good at taking people down from a distance and all the different things. And then we have, no gi with the leg lock. So we're trying to find these different universal rules of grappling, right? So here, when we're playing, I don't like in jiu-jitsu, Greg talked about it, we're soft and we stay on our back and all this stuff. So to me, I want to do, how can I teach just stand up without just yelling somebody, just stand up? Because you can yell all day, but if they don't know how to get there, they're not going to see the way to get up, right? So just like teaching submissions, we teach from the end stage back so you understand where their submission is. So with this just stand up, or as I call it, just in parentheses, safely stand up, because I want to give you a safe path to get to the top. It's not just if you're strong, if you're not this. I'm 49 years old, 5 foot nothing, 100 and nothing. That's a Rudy reference. I do a lot of references. So right there, to hold me down and not let me get to turtle and get back to feet is actually pretty hard for a lot of people, and they're much bigger and stronger, right? Because I don't accept being on the bottom, right? I can't stand just, I'll accept side control, I'll accept mount, you should always be looking, for me, you're either playing guard or getting back to your feet. And there's another good side effect that is, as you're trying to stand up, it opens up the guard pull and makes it easier. So you don't have to learn, this is how I get my guard back. This is my guard retention shrimp. This is my this. I give them the path to going up, and that'll actually, you either stand up or it'll open up the guard pull. So I don't have to teach you guard pulling techniques, right? Because the path is to stand up. You have to get people, and Craig Jones talks about this with his just stand up. In MMA, if somebody's actively trying to get up and you need both hands to get them, to hold them to the ground, it's harder to get punched in the face, right? Because you're trying to hold them down. Same thing with here. If you have to give 2 arms and 2 hands to hold me down, it's going to be harder to throw a submission on, right? Because you have to address that. Instead of just accepting side control, accepting your fate, and then let that person work and just keep beating you down to the mat and pinning you. So I'm going to teach you from the end stage out. So what will be the end stage of just stand up? The stand up part, right? And I'm going to, Scott, he did a little game that was similar to what I do, but I'm going to add just a little extra little nugget that I like to add, because I think it gives the defensive person a little more options and something to be aware of. So let's, come here. So this is going to be the first game. So he's going to be behind me, right? But he's not going to have his hands locked. I'm just going to grab above the knuckles right here. I'm not going to grab the wrist, because he can still, guess what, lock his hands. Right? I'm not going to grab his fingers, which you can, but people get annoyed about that. So we're all friends here. We're not going to break each other's fingers. We're just going to cover the knuckles, right here. His job is to connect his hands around my waist or a leg, anything. What's that term you used? I like that. What was around the body all the way to the ankles or something like that?
Shoulders to feet.
Yeah, there you go. So I like that. I'm going to steal that. So here, my job here in this position is not to let him connect his hands, not let him wrap it around my body, and all I'm going to do is get my hips away and face him. That's it. You can do it any way you want, right? So we're going to start right here in this position. This is my really bad demonstration. Just I kick the hand, so try to stay connected to me. Here I go. I'm going to get my hips away and turn into him. And that's it. That's the game. That's all you're going to do. This is the end stage of when you're standing up. This is what the wrestlers do. This is what the folk style people do. This is part of the game. This is where you're going to get to, and you have to fight those hands. But I'm giving you those grips so you see. So if we start playing, and then you lose those grips, you better get those grips back. And if he holds his hands and locks, you're done. You lost. All right? We're not going to do mat returns and all that other stuff because we're here. So grab a partner. Have fun. Just start it. Oh, hold the knuckles over the top. Don't let them connect their hands. Just play with that. Let's go. Don't let them connect their hands. Grab around the waist or a leg. Free yourself. Yeah, be cognizant of your buddies. Use your brains, right? The mental. And just turn. You'll start creating some fun games. Just turn towards the person. Free your hips. There you go. Just play a little bit. Just play a little bit. Free those hips. Don't let them lock their hands. You lose that grip, get that same grip. Just turn, get your hips free. Hips and turn, whatever way you want. Good, break, bring it in because I'm going to add on. All right, bring it in. Okay, so I'm going to add on to that. So if I go like this, and then he just body locks me and takes me down, right? But I didn't get my hips away. So that's why I say get the hips away, not just turn. So we're getting our hips away. So now we're gonna make it a little better here. We're gonna add this start point. Now, we're same game, but on the break, if somebody breaks, you both battle for the control of the hips or the single leg. So you'll start seeing some fun stuff come out and we'll emerge from this. So we go, I'm coming around. Now I'm thinking I still want to win this game though, right? Oh, now I'm boom. Now we're doing reattacks without really telling you to reattack, all right? I'm saying it differently because this is a seminar environment. This is maybe not how I would do it in the class or whatever, but I have to understand with the people, and it's just different ideas and concepts I'm throwing out. So, same thing. I'm not going from behind here because my shoulder's all jacked up. So we're going here. Same game, get your hips turned, but you have to get a connection on the break, all right? Same connections he's looking for. Ready, we go. Dude, you come up with some fun stuff. Boom, now I win, and he will fight. So grab your partner again, play with it, you try to get the reattack on the break. Let's go.
On the break.
Good. Watch out for your partner. This is just the end stage. Good, then you break, then you're done. Once you disengage, you're done. There you go, now jump on.
I found in some standing games, you end up both can kind of win at the same time.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, which is great because then we can add on after that. Good. Fight the hands, always fighting the hands. We're not just grappling, we're grippling. You're grippling. If you're not grippling, you're not playing. We're just always grippling. Let's go.
Are they ever connecting our hands? In the back person, are they ever connecting?
That's what you're trying to. You're trying to not let them. Yeah. Same game. Yep. Yeah. Good. Beautiful. Good. Excellent. Break. That's it. That's all that was. And what's really nice about this, games like this, these are great beginner warm-up games. I use these a lot too, right? All that stuff Scott showed in the beginning, I play the same games with the warm-ups with that, and this is another one I throw in there, and then they start connecting and all that, and you start creating like these chain wrestling type games, right? And you never really drill that specific technique or whatever you're doing. But the reason I keep the hands disconnected at first, because I want that person's attention to be on not letting them connect their hands, right? Because when the hands are connected, it gets hard, right? And there's different things. So I want you to be aware of that, right? So then what's good about that game, I have these little, I call them little bridge games or connector games where I kind of find these different little spots because I want to give you something different than what you may have seen from Greg or Scott or different people and this and that. And these are just different ideas that I'm trying to play with. And they change all the time, right? When I started doing this, these games don't look the same as I did before. I go through the same process as a coach as you do as a student, right? Because I'm learning this stuff too. I'm reading more, I'm training more, I'm creating these environments. Some games are just trash, right? And we go, all right, that's how we get it. Or we get the gaming the game. Like kids are great at gaming the game, right? So now we got to add it. So like this sidebar, so say like we're here and everybody likes the ankle touch game. Great game, right? We're shooting, we're trying to get the ankle touches, but kids start doing crazy stuff and they throw their ankles all the way out here and they start doing this, right? And they're like, Coach, I'm winning. So I'm like, oh, that doesn't work. But now the other win condition will be if you could get to the person's back. So if I start doing this, oh, Coach, I lost again. Like, well, you keep diving there like a crazy person, right? So they will game it. So you have, as a coach, you're watching and you can get involved and play with them also so they can't game it and figure out where the gaming points are. So now you can actually add on to that. So now what we're going to do, since space is a thing, I have another intermediate game where we do one hand on the mat. Actually, we might try to do it here because it'll actually work. So here was the stand-up phase, right? The disconnect, disengage, and now we're up. So now we're going to bring it down a level, right? So we're going to go down. You could do quad pod. You could do different ones, but I think whatever. So we're just going to do one knee on the mat, one hand on the mat here, right? This position, any way you want. You know what? I don't have to tell you where to go like this, because if I stay like this and he pushes me over, that doesn't work. So now I'm going to self-organize, so now push me. All right, now my foot comes out. I don't have to tell you where to put it, okay? So one hand on the mat, one knee on the mat. He cannot connect his hands. I'm gonna go folk style, where you can't connect on the hands until they come up, just so he can explore different grips, right? He can do claw grips, he can do whatever he's seen, whatever online, whatever he watched, all right? So his job is to get me to touch both hands on the mat or bring a hip to a mat, right? My job here is to stay in these one hand, one knee on the mat, and then get to both feet. That's it. Then I win if I get to both feet, okay? So he can't win, because he just wants to get my hip on the mat, and I have to keep getting back to that, and then stand up, all right? So he could peek either side, he could go around my back, do whatever, he can't connect his hands. He wants to get my hip on my mat or touch both hands. All right, keep going, go. Game over, all right? Now what would this game connect to right there? Right to the game we did before. We can add that on later if you wanted to, and now we make a longer transition, right? So just here, one hand on the mat, one knee on the mat. Try to get both hands on the mat or just a hip to the mat. Stay here and just build to a base. No picking up and slamming. No what? Day one. You got to hold them down. All right? Grab your partner. Let's go. Let's play. Go. Good. Fight the hands. You're always hand fighting. Remember? You're grippling. Good. Beautiful. Beautiful. It's really hard to hold somebody who doesn't want to be there. Beautiful. A little claw spiral ride emerged. Beautiful. Right? Guys watching your folk? Can't connect your hands, so no cradles. Good, he's up, he won. You lost, brother. You're out. Done. Yeah, get to 2 feet. That's all you gotta do, get to 2 feet. Good, he's on 2 feet. He's on 2 feet. He's on 2 feet. He got to 2 feet, he's good. Yeah, he got to 2 feet. Yep. Yeah. 58%, there we go, good. 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 Keep going a little bit long. Good. Don't connect your hands. Don't connect. Good. Break. I want to teach the concept or the strategy of how you get back up, right? So you're not going to get there just by the coach yelling you to stand up, right? You got to build in these conditions right here. It could be gamified, it could be a strategy, how we're going to teach these concepts, right? So I want to put them into these things. So now what we're going to do, now we're going to bring it down another level, all right? That's a little more intense. We're going to bring it down a little other level, right? And we're going to go down to referee or straight arm turtle, depending on what you want to call it, right? So we're in this position right here, right? He cannot connect his hands again, all right? Now his job is to break me down to a hip and get to any type of pinning position, hold me down, while my job is to keep getting back to here, right? I'm not going all the way up. I just want to get back to here. Yes?
What defines the pin, coach?
That's a good question. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I say it differently because in a setting, I will just usually say, just keep the person's hips on the mat. Not a pin of a scoring pin. Just keep my hips on the mat. Thank you.
Continuous, or is there a win condition for the top player?
No, he doesn't get a win. He just got to keep my hips on the mat. So it's continuous up back to here, and it's a both continuous game. So I'm bad at this sometimes in the seminar format here. We'll go for whatever, and then we'll switch, because it's not a switching type game, right? Because we're just building this property. Thank you. So we're going to this position. He could start with any grip he wants of any unconnected hands he wants, right? And he could pick ankles, he could do anything he wants. So I just have to get back to this position, okay? Good structure here in this position, right? So now as the game starts, he's going to try to break down to the hip, and then I will give also another focus for this top player of getting this position. Try to keep your wrists clean, all right? That just means if he's attacking my wrist, I want you to keep your wrist clean. All right? I don't want, because you're going to get broken down, I want you to keep those wrists clean. Just keep your wrists clean, all right? As you continuously get back to this position, all right? So now we're in this formation. Let's go, go. Keep going. You want to move, you want to keep getting back. Things in this, he's breaking me down to a hip. I keep getting back any way I can. If a sit out happens, it happens. I don't care. It doesn't matter. He starts attacking everything with all his different grips. I have to keep getting back to this position. He starts attacking the wrists. Boom, I keep my wrist clean. I can still hand fight. Boom, that's it. That's the game. Just so you can get back to turtle, okay? You don't want the hips broken down, and you don't want to stay in these down hip position, and you're doing all this. We want to get back up to this, because then that leads us to getting back up to the top. And if I start sweating even from coaching, that's just me. I am Liquid Rob. It happens. That's it. All right, grab your partner, let's go. Play, have fun. Have fun, let's have fun now. No connected hands. No connected hands. Get these hips to the mat. Hips to the mat. Remember, you're going at 58%. Your goal is just hips. There is no submissions in this game. Ah, your wrists are all tied up. Clean those wrists up. There you go. Good. Yeah, that's good stuff right there. That's good stuff. That's great stuff right there. Jeff's walking on his hands. Boom. Good. All right, break. Flip top and bottom. Let's go. Flip top and bottom. I don't want to kill you too much after lunch. Let's go. But this is how we train. It's tiring now, but as you do it after a couple weeks or a month, it's not as tiring. Good. Get those hips to the mat, and then do not allow the hips to stay on the mat. Get back to your referee position. Good posts. Keep your wrists clean. Make sure you're using your hands. You're grip fighting constantly, constantly. You should always be using those hands. Beautiful, break. All right, good. So these are my games that I kind of, created. This doesn't have to be yours, right? They could be starter games or whatever, right? They change depending on the room and the people you have and whatever you're trying to develop. But my goal here is, how can I design a practice to get this concept or strategy to emerge out, right? That's the main goal of this, because I don't want people to accept what I see. I don't like a lot of stuff I see in jiu-jitsu sometimes, right? Just depending on what background. But there's obviously benefits from playing guard and doing this. I'm a guard puller. I'll do it all the time. But also, when that guard is passed, you have that option of getting up. People forget about that, right? And it just throws everything off, right? And we like to, and that's that novelty and stuff, and we're throwing these systems. So I want to make you, what's happening is the defensive player is getting all the attention right now, the defensive player, of getting back up. But what's that offensive player doing right now? He's really learning how to hold somebody down, how to get their hips on the mat. So it's both. It's a pinning. It's both together. We're always connected together on how we're doing these things. So now what we're going to do, and I wouldn't teach this way, but I actually am for this one. I like this game because it's a fun one. So now, change your mindset and you're all beginners, right? We wipe you up again and you're all beginners, right? We wiped everything out, all right? Because now we're going to still go to try to get up. So what we're going to do here, because I'm not always accept the classic jiu-jitsu side control, and we're talking about the framing, and we always go back to guard, right? That's what a lot of people do. But I always like to give people two directions, right? So we have guard pulling strategy or getting back to a guard, and then we have the get up strategy, right? So I don't like flat shoulders on the mat, right? I'm not a fan of it, because that's when bad things happen, right? So from this position here, his job, we're going to go brand new. This is more of a balance, control, whatever game. He's going to go chest to chest. All I'm going to do is I want to have one shoulder off the mat, away from the opponent. And he goes chest on top of me, right here in this position. Now, his job, he can't lock his hands. He can't even use his hands in this game. He's going to try to stay chest to chest to me and chest to back to me as I try to get up to my feet. Now, if he's up on my upper body, what's free? My feet. If he's more controlling, his chest and his hips are on my lower body, right? So his chest is here, he starts using his leg. He's trying to keep him down, his whole body. Now my head can come up. That's the basis of all this just stand up stuff for me. It's where they're not. It's hard to control both. It's hard to control the upper body and the lower body at the same time. So this is a nice fun starter game. He comes in here with his chest. He just has to stay on top. All my job is I have to get to my feet. All right, ready, let's go. Just keep following me, chest to chest or chest to back. I use any way to get up, now I win. That's it, that's the game. He's gonna probably lose, he should lose, right? Loss is good, all right? But he's learning just to use his body and his toes. If he's on his feet like this, they're not gonna work. He can't do anything. So it's gonna make him go to his toes, make him use his chest, make him use the pressure and use gravity, all right? So now we're gonna throw you down there, all right? So no two shoulders on the mat, all right? Here I'm in this position, all right? Whichever way I go, I wanna try to stay on top. You don't have to do hands behind the back. I don't want you face planting. You could be like this. You just can't connect them and hold them. All right, I want to get away from that for this part. All right, ready, go. That's it, he won. Beautiful. All right, and now it'll get changed. So try to play with that. Grab your partner, play that. Chest to chest, chest to back. Don't let your shoulders go flat on the mat. All right? What? Rotate after you get up. Thank you. No frame. You can do whatever way you want. I don't care. Just get off your back. You gotta hold Primal MMA down. Hold him down.
I don't know, man.
Without even your hands. If they're heavy on your hips, raise your head. They're heavy on your head, raise your hips. No throwing hooks. Just hold them down. You listen to the game. Just your chest. Just your chest. That's why you bench press. That's why you take all that TRT. Use that chest. Let's go. Yeah. If you want to go hands behind the back and risk the face plant, go for it. I don't care. You got to hold him down. Put that chest on him. He ain't going nowhere. Beautiful. Break. I love it. I love it. Games like this to me are like fun, right? And then like I was saying, sometimes when we start getting like 15, 16 years old, where we say, stop playing around. Do this, stop playing. No, keep playing, man. If you're an adult, keep playing. Like that's how you keep the motivation going. And if I come to practice, I still want to have some fun too, right? We train hard, sweat a lot, throw a little fun, makes you come back. Like what they say, what's the best workout split and all this? The one that gets you to come back the next day, right? So you want to keep coming back, just depending on what your gym goals are or what you have or what you want to play. So I like to play that game. It's a good, fun little play game, good warm-up game. Whatever you want to do with it, it's up to you. I don't care. But it's going to give you different things. So now you can start seeing, as you guys were standing up, you're going through these different phases of getting up to the feet, right? So now we're going to add another layer to it, because we're going to make it harder for the bottom player, right? We're bottom player focused on this one, but we're actually top player focused at the same time. As I see Greg over there smiling at me, right? Because it's got to be together coupled, right? But that's how we do it. All right, so now it's the same start point, right? We go here, chest here. So now, in this position, if I'm turning my shoulders up, this is my top hand, right? So I'm gonna give you a free grip, right? Just for fun, right? Just like that first game, I'm gonna grab above the knuckles. I'm giving you this free grip. Now he can use his hands, anything he can to hold me down. But I want to deny attachments. So that's why I give you this free grip to break it here, because I want you to feel the power of what attachments really are. So even when you're on the bottom, you're still grip fighting. Right? He has to hold me down by attaching to me, by holding me. I have to be grip fighting constantly, right? That's why this stuff from mount and all this stuff, that's just delaying the inevitable, right? You're eventually going to get caught until something happens and you might explode, right? So I want to always be in that grip fighting. Another little hint, what's always a good rule in jiu-jitsu? Just keep your elbows to your body too, right? If we go underneath, things get exploited. You'll find that really fast. So just keep here, same thing. But now he can use his arms to hold me down and try to connect his hands, right? But I'm still looking in the same gate again, but I want to keep this grip though, because it's helpful, right? If the game starts and I let go of the grip and he connects his hands, it's going to be a rough day getting up, all right? So right here, we're going to go. Ready, go. Grip fight, don't let him connect, up. I won the game, all right? That's all it is. That's all we're doing, but I want your focus of attention on that grip fight, right? I want you to have that. I want you to get so that top player Try to connect those hands. Try to fight those grips. Hold them down with your chest. Hold them down with your legs. Hold them down with your feet. Hold them down with your arms. Now we're getting more toward that more, in the Constraint-led approach book, they talk about the dials, right? Representativeness is always a great goal, but sometimes you have to turn down the representativeness with the dial to put attention to something else, and you kind of play with it, right? But if you go too crazy and there's no representative, then you just call it differential learning, right? Then you go that way. So you can play with those different dials of how you want to do it. I take the submissions out at this point because I want you to get used to this, but then I will add in submissions in that same especially from that turtle position where you get the rear naked choke, where that's the option or something like that. You can just play with those. It just depends on what you're trying to teach, what you're trying to show, and what your rooms can adjust to, all right? So now the starting point, remember, it's just like that first grip I was telling above the knuckles, the same thing, just the top grip, right here in this position, and then we go from here. Use your post, use your hand. He's heavy on your hips, your head rises. He's heavy on your head, your hips can move. Doesn't matter, right? But the path, the intention is get to your feet. All right? And his intention is keep me down, hold me down. That's his job always. We want to make honest grapplers. This is honest. He has to hold me down. If I can get up anytime, it's not an honest pin. It's not going to lead from passing into pinning into complete control. All right? So start with your partner right here. Play the game. You move your body any way you want to get back up to your feet. All right? Everybody good with that?
Top players continuous, correct?
Yep. Let's go. And then switch on the stand-up. Let's go. Go. Good. Keep fighting with that free hand. Remove those grips. No submissions. No submissions. Grip fight. Remove the hands. Scott's holding you down. Oh, I like that grip fight. That was beautiful grip fight you just did right there. Good. Oh, we got Primal MMA in the house. He's coming for you. He's about to throw some blows. Nice. Get that grip fight. Get to those feet and it's done. Beautiful. Smells like grappling in here. Oof. Good. Get to your feet. Get to your feet. Use that grip. Good. Good. Beautiful. Good. Good. Break. Beautiful. Beautiful. That was really good. All right. Good. Now, from what I've seen in my experience with this, as I do a lot of games like this, a lot of wrestling games, a lot of games like this, and we still do all the other stuff too. But I think stuff like this is to me, how you kind of change a room, or try to make emerge what you want. Like say DeAndre, kind of what he does makes that, because it's so successful in the way he plays and things like that happen. So you get people like this where we're not accepting the jiu-jitsu rules, the like, I will take my side control, To me, a lot of times in my classes and stuff, side control doesn't really exist, right? We kind of like get rid of side control because they're not accepting that. So what are we doing all this side control stuff for if we're really not getting to that point? So I do stuff like this with, I actually wasn't even gonna do this, but I'll actually add it in. Here's a little bonus extra on it. I got 2 of them here. So how we connect this to other stuff like pinning, right? So a lot of times when I teach passing to pinning, we'll start at the end stage of the pass, right? So say we'll just start in a, so he has cross face underhook, and then like quarter guard, like 1 foot here, right here, right in this position. He has his job, right? His job is to hold me down, keep me down, and free his knee, right? Once he frees his knee, that's a pass, right? No, he still got to hold me down at that point too. So he starts with this. He gets all the good stuff. He's got everything he wants. So all he has to do is free that knee. I'm going to hold that knee as long as I can, but when that knee's free, guess what I'm going to try to do? stand up. I'll just try to get the turtle for this part right here. So if you pass my guard and you got all this stuff, you still be able to pin me down to the mat. And you got to get my shoulders flat to the mat. You could do a 2-3 second count. You could play with it, have fun. The kids like it. I come diving over the rope like pro wrestling, and I'm like 1, 2. That changes the game real completely. People start getting up. They start going, oh man, I better go. I'm gonna get pinned, right? So ready to go? Just free your knee. Yet you guys still keep holding me down. Right there. That was not a free pass. This is not Monopoly. You don't collect $200 after you pass go, right? You got to work for it. So that is a game for me which changes the culture of what passing is, what pinning is. Because my passing and pinning, so we have Greg talk about standing, guard it, and pinning, right? You could also say it another way. There's standing and then there's top and there's bottom. There's top, passing and pinning, bottom, guard, and getting pinned. It's all the same stuff, right? You're a bottom player trying to become the top player, right? That's your main goal. So we're gonna start in this alignment. I wasn't even gonna do this, but I just acted in an environment and decided to do it, right? I love ecological jokes, they're so dumb. It's like dad jokes, it's the new dad joke. All right, so we're gonna start just with the ankle, just give me an ankle, and then we would, then I'll tell you afterwards. So right here, cross face underhook, or double under, make it harder on yourself too. Do any way you want, in this position, right? He just has to free his knee and finish the pass and hold me down for 3 seconds. Hold my shoulders down. That's it. So I'll give him the freebie here. He frees it. Boom, and I'm trying to hold him. Boom, we go 1, 2, 3, done. He got the pass. He established it. He got his points. He got his 3 points, and now he can stall out the round and get the win and be a champ, right? Be Blue Belt Masters 5 champ. All right, so there you go. You have to get to stop that person from getting the turtle. All right, but you start in a position, try to free your knee, stop them from getting the turtle, and see what kind of happens, and see if this kind of changes the way you see passing and pinning and all that type of stuff. Everybody got it? Got the game?
You want to hold the quarter guard, right? Like, don't do, that was just an example.
No, yeah, try to hold it. You know, whatever. You know, it's up to you. You know, sometimes you got to decide. You know, if you feel like you could turn and let it go, that's up to you. That's your personal decision. All right, ready, go. Boom, all the way up. See, yeah, you would get the turtle, and you would, and you know that you would start getting that butt up, and he'd fall right off you. Yep, that would be the whole continuous. Good. Good. Good, winner. 1, 2, 3, out. Intercontinental champion. Let's go. 1. Dude, good, beautiful. I'm gonna come, let's see if I see any other passes. Let's see, where's the hips? Free that knee, free that ankle. Oh, good. There we go. Yeah. Oh, 1, 2, 3, out, done. Good, break, beautiful. So, when it's fun, when I throw out the 3 count pin and all that stuff, to me, that's like a great motivator. Say you're dealing with like kids and teens. They really get crazy. Like when I come diving and I'm looking, their eyes open up and then they're like, rah, and everything comes out. But you do it to the adults too, it's kind of funny, right? And it kind of ups that stakes. It puts that, what's Bruce Lee talking about? Emotional content, right? You want to be connected to it kind of emotionally, right? And then that's what's going to stick to you when you feel that emotion of it and what you're going to do. So now with that passing pinning thing I just showed you, so now what I would do if I was in that passing procedure, now I would just back you up 1 step. Instead of quarter guard, we go to half guard. So now that top player has to get his knee free from the half guard and then any side of the mat he wants. And then add that win condition of the pin and to get to the turtle, and now we're just adding it all in, right? And this is what I talk about where they're saying, oh, the transfer of the techniques, the transfer. Where was the transfer there? You're literally doing it, right? You're going to end up in these positions no matter what in live sparring. But you just have to, but I want you to keep that, what's my strategy? What's happening? When my guard is passed, I will not accept the pin, right? And then what's great about this, what I like about this style of this just stand up, this works gi, no gi, MMA, self-defense, whatever. What's a good thing for a kid to learn? How to get back to the feet. Or you're an adult, you know? You're going to get some groceries. For some reason, that person's fighting over the peach. You start scrapping, you get double-legged in the street. You got to get back up and get out of there, right? You always have to be able to get back to your feet. So you want to make it to where somebody has to hold you down. And it works for MMA. It works for no gi. It works for gi. It works for anything, right? And it's good grappling principles that I like because you want to become the top player, right? So now what we could do, I would add the passing where you keep backing it up. But now, say you take a game like Greg showed earlier with to make and maintain the connections of the guard, right? I could take that game now, and now I can add another win condition for the bottom player. Anytime he can, if he could get to his feet, he wins. Because what does that make the top player do? They have to start playing around. So we say we're playing here, and we have the game where I'm trying to maintain the connections, and he's trying to keep me down here. Now, if we're playing and he starts doing some stuff, and he's really playing on my ankles, I just won the game, because you did not keep me down. All right? So now we're going to do that thing. We're going to take a Greg game, and now we're going to add a little thing of adding, and the bottom player also has the ability to stand up. He just doesn't have to stay here in this connection principle, right? He's going here, he's looking for his connections, and he's standing up if he needs to. So now, I think you guys, Scott and your partner started getting into the guard and the holding the ankles up, right? So let's do that for the last game, and then we'll talk a little bit about it and then get going. So grab your partner, start with the guard. I didn't plan on doing this game, but I like it. Let's go. It just got created. Let's go. I just created a game. Try to get to the knee line, try to stop the connections. The guard player could get up anytime they want. You're still playing the other game, but with the added bonus of you can stand up anytime you want. So they have to keep you down. So you have to monitor that. Yeah, right there. Just start right there. Good. Beautiful. That was no pass because he turtled and got up. Beautiful. He denied all your points.
Am I trying to pass or am I just trying to...
Hold the knee line, make it maintain. This is more of a new game alert out of nowhere. Yeah. Break those grips. If you want to stand up, you better break some grips. You can flip-flop when somebody gets to their feet. We're real loosey-goosey. Good. Woo! Oh, he pulled out the blast double against the guard puller. Beautiful. Good. You can play fast, play slow, play at your pace. Good. It makes an honest guard player and an honest top player. Beautiful. Break. Bring it in. Woo! I like it. I like it. All right. Good job. All right. Real quick. So that's what I'm saying. I let this class kind of lead the way of where it was going based on the starting things. And that's what kind of happens in my classes sometimes, depending on who's there. I'll start with the plan I like, and then I'll kind of manipulate what I want to go or what play. I think it makes it, sometimes you could do regimented style, you could do whatever. You know, depending, you can play with times, you can do anything you want, right? Just what's going to help your room and how you're going to grow from that. Now, what's fun with those games like that, with the guard passing game, you start seeing people, so he's on his guard, you start seeing where different people talk about like controlling the bottom leg and things like that. Those stuff start popping up because as we're playing and you notice, for him to get up, right, so start getting up, he has to put a leg on the ground, right? So if I hold this leg, right, go up, he's gonna still get up, right? But that'll open up other options to the back. So now you start, so when I'm rolling with people and I'm like, man, I gotta keep him down, and he starts going, get up, I gotta control that bottom leg, right? People start pulling on those ankles and those legs. You start discovering these concepts, control the bottom leg, just by natural, because it just doesn't work if you do it the other way. Right? Now he would switch his bottom leg. All right, now he's getting up, and now we're going into the back, and now we're going in and we're playing our games. So they all start linking. Grappling is not complicated. It's hard. It's really hard, right? It's hard as you want it, but it's really not that complicated. I think this technique for technique thing we've created, you know, the counter to the counter to the counter, the new DVD to this one, the counter to this to that. We kind of make these, like, now it's super complicated, right? But any guard, you just have to break the connections, right? It just doesn't matter. Worm guard, all this stuff, lapel, throw it through. Just break they're just controlling the inside space. The majority of jiu-jitsu, the winner is the person in this space. So if we keep them out of there and we keep those things out of there, things can't happen as much, right? So that's what we're doing in these things. So when you're playing, you're passing, you're controlling those spaces. When you're playing guard, you don't want them in those spaces. All the guard retention stuff you see, the diamond principle and all these different things, it's just not letting that person in the space. Like Greg was saying, every pass you ever gonna see is the same, right? They're getting by the feet, the knees, and they're putting their body in that space. They're putting anything. They could put a knee, they could put a hand, they could put a hip. It doesn't matter, it's all the same thing. The affordance opens and you take it. Right? And then we play from there. So we're doing these different things. So all this stuff, all concepts will go together, right? And now it makes it much more simpler. What I love about this approach, or the CLA, which is funny, I have another, it's also the CLA to me, because a lot of times in jiu-jitsu, just do the opposite of what the person's doing to make it work. You want to connect your hands? I don't want you to connect your hands. You want to do this? So I call it the Costanza-led approach. Like George Costanza, do the opposite. It's the same thing. It's the Costanza-led approach, right? When in doubt, just do the opposite of what they're trying to do to you, right? They're heavy on your head, your hips come up. They're heavy on your hips, your head comes up. They're trying to compress your neck, open it up. Straighten your back. They're trying to break your posture, keep your posture strong. It makes it so much more simpler. We want to have good, competitive, fun grappling, not make it overly complex where you're just thinking all the time. Because I've trained at so many different gyms, and there'll be blue belts and purple belts, and they'll still get lost in the roll. You should never get lost. Because you always have, if you play enough of these games, you should always have an intention and a focus of attention. Both players. So you should not get lost. I don't care if you ended up in a spot you've never been in. I know I should still have an intention of doing something. And that's why I like to add the stand-up portion. Because what I was talking about earlier, so say we're playing here, and he does that pass, boom, and he breaks through, and I'm still trying to stand up, and now I'm coming here, and he gotta hold me down. Now what's gonna open up here? The guard pull's much easier, right? Because he's trying to hold me down. What is that guard pull technique I just did? Turn and face him, right? I have to create space. He's the top player, he closes space. I'm the bottom escapee, I'm creating space. So that's gonna open up all your guard pulls, because we don't want to give up side control. If you go into sport, to competition, passes, you get passed, you're pretty much done against a good guy. You give up 3 points, you give up mount, you give up this, so might as well waste your energy trying to get out and not give up those points instead of accepting the 3 points, the 4 points, and then you lose, and then you go on Instagram and go, well, I lost, but I didn't get submitted. Well, it was 10-0. He literally dominated you. He dominated you, right? There's no great thing, and I lost on points. Like, that's a... Yeah. As long as you didn't submit me, I didn't lose. But guess what? If punches are probably in play, you're gonna freaking lose, right? MMA kind of teased out a lot of stuff in martial arts, and then we went another way with it in jiu-jitsu another way. And then MMA kind of was like, wait, what the hell? That's why, an MMA fighter just showed up my gym. Folk style wrestler showed up and dominated you. Yeah, they dominated you because they train freaking hard and they go hard and they understand what that means. And they do not accept bad positions. They do not accept you doing this type of stuff. That's why all the white belt spaz who comes off the street, those are great guys to train with, right? Because they're gonna give you real crazy novel things. They don't move the right way. And then what we tell you, we put the gi on them, we put them this, you better stay like this with your posture straight, so now I could break you down and open up and armbar you, you know? Instead of they're driving their head into your face, post it all on you, and they're just like, you're miserable under here and goes, where's all my techniques? Those techniques are gone. Now you're in a fight. Now you're surviving, right? And the good thing about this grappling, we could go pretty hard without getting the concussions, the head trauma, the hits, the elbows. We'll get our bumps and bruises and all that stuff, but that's why I believe this type of training is actually perfect for grappling. What are we? We're two bodies interacting all the time. If we walk away from each other, we're not grappling anymore, right? It just doesn't matter. We have to touch, we have to grab. And that's that information you're getting, right? And you're getting it here. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully I set a new light on some stuff, different things, different philosophies, different ideas, how you could take a concept you like and then maybe start thinking, how could I take that concept I like and convert it into a task and a goal? Focus of you have your intention, your focus of attention, and then run with it. And it's not gonna be perfect. We're gonna have problems with it, right? But we'll keep defining it, we'll keep playing it, and as your room goes, things will change. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you for having me.